I think in general, next 2 years are chaotic for everyone. I mean, there nobody really knows how it's going to pan out. So everybody's keeping their roadmaps open. Okay, let's keep building whatever keeps coming. Right?
Ah.
I doubt if anybody has a good 2 year strategy.
I don't think that is possible in today's day and world. Yeah. 6 months you will be out of plan if your strategy is
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there, right? So
yeah,
strategy is
yeah, yeah.
so I think we should be AI.
I think Bruce Lee had this right. I think Bruce Lee had this right. The best technique is to have no technique, right? So that's true of strategy. The best strategy is to have no strategy today, right?
Maybe
So yeah.
or every weekend we have to have a chat with the AI saying that "Okay, the strategy, what has changed that will impact my strategy? Tell me now, please. Before I go out of business. I think if the investors are asking that, we should ask them like, what was the mode that OpenAI was saying again, please? Can you tell me that now? I think there are a couple of companies who are taking a position on trying to sell to Indian market, saying that the Indian market is going to open up for the AI softwares, and there are different takes on that. It will be interesting to see how that shapes up and how that is actually coming along. For sure, for sure.
Well, this is going to be interesting because, like, we are like coming from product backgrounds and all. The typical questions where a product manager will ask, "What would be a 3-year vision, 5-year vision?" Predicting what is going to happen after 1 month, it's something. By the time your team tries to spend to build it, it would have gone obsolete.
Yeah, matlab, every week we have a product or a release or a paper or a something that's like, okay, let's redo everything from start again, right? I'm like, okay, ठीक है, कर ले. That's the only way you do this right now, right? So, yeah, it's happening to everybody, especially the more agile you are right now, and that is a competitive advantage.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Founder AI Stories. This is the podcast where we explore the journeys of the founders and the role of AI in shaping industries. Joining me today is my co host, Rashmi Ranjan. Hey, Rashmi, nice to have you again.
Hey Satya, thanks for having me again.
And we have with us special guests from Karta AI, a company which is redefining the landscape of agentic AI. Abhishek and Vijay. Abhishek, Vijay, hi, welcome to the
Hey,
episode.
Satya. Hey, Rashmi. Great to be here.
So before we dive in, let's one input to all audiences. This is a agentic AI podcast where we talk about the AI which is changing the industry. Please do so. Remember to subscribe our episode and see what's coming next. So, starting with this, Abhishek and Vijay, thanks for joining this episode. Starting this company or any AI company in this age is not an easy
Mm.
fact. What has been your journey or inspiration behind this Karta AI? You can start with your like what was the inception and how did it lead it to start?
We started, I think 2022 the ChatGPT came out, and since then we've been playing with it. But we got really serious in 23, and by this, and that time I was working with Razorpay, and we started then building out GenAI solutions for the support service. When we were doing that, we realized that people don't restrict themselves to support, right? People start asking all sorts of questions, right? I mean, it's a sales question, a marketing question, a product question, way beyond support, right? So the types of queries that we are getting were across the board. Then we thought ki if that is the case, then we need to build a much wider solution. And that's when me and Abhishek forked out, and then we thought ki let's build this out and let's build out for everybody. So our goal here is to not build out just a support agent. The goal here is to build out an entire enterprise assistant, right? And the most logical place to start is support, because that's where we have the maximum data about the product, right? So that's the vision that we are going after, and we're starting with support. Happy to take more questions, but yeah, Abhishek can add.
Yeah, Abhishek, what was your defining moment? What was the itch?
I have been working in the AI industry for around last 10 years. So in the Walmart, I was involved in the Gen AI team. There I got a much hands-on during 2023. So my journey started with the first product in the law industry. My father is a lawyer.
Oh,
So
nice.
while discussing with him, I built a solution for him. Then I thought of building a startup. I launched it. I did a sales of it. In that process itself, I built a product, the agentic world I entered into to build the lawyer product. During the sales and talking with the Vijay, I got to know that Razorpay is building the Genius. I decided to, Vijay asked me to come and consult the Razorpay on this. So I joined him, and later on we decided to, as Vijay mentioned, from a smaller vision, we build a bigger vision because we saw what was happening with the. That's how we entered into this.
Awesome, awesome. I think this is a really interesting insight. Uh, but how did you guys meet each other?
Yeah, so we were batchmate. We have been meeting in between. In the legal, as I mentioned, I was looking for GTM processes. So I knew we met a few years back. I knew Vijay was working with the SaaS company who used to sell the product in the US. So I connected with him to figure out how to do all these things, and then we started working together.
Nice, nice. You were batchmates. So, what was your alma mater?
We are from IT Bombay,
Oh, nice.
and both of us were from mechanical also.
Oh, same batch. That's interesting. So some chemistry was there, and it evolved over the.
We were since IT only we were doing things together, cheating together, and all those things. But yes,
Nice. So, Vijay, like this is something which you like to little bit explore
Hmm.
more. From your IIT journey and till the time frame, I think you might have crossed multiple paths and you would have traversed multiple regions. I remember from our discussions, you also worked on a social impact company some time back, and you used AI on that front also. It is interesting topic for us. Maybe you can maybe shed some light, like how was it AI on the social impact causes?
When I was in my final year, I was working on some project on energy savings. We are from mechanical, right? And I got super interested in that. And then I had a job in Dubai. I didn't go there, and I just landed up joining this NGO, which was in Pune, right? They used to work in energy policy and consulting the government or being the representative for the consumers there. We used to do policy. We used to be a policy think tank, and we used to try and push for renewables across India. So we did a lot of work on that side. I think I was there for around 4 years. Great place. I think that's one of the places where I learned the most because it was so different from what work I'm usually used to. I traveled a lot, traveled across the country, traveled to really native places, tried to understand their problems. So trying problem discovery actually began that time, right? I mean, what we do, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, what are these guys? What are their problems? Like, will this policy work for them? Will this kind of solution work for them, right? The grains of right user research and problem discovery was sown that time, right? Even before I didn't know these words, but I was doing that during those times. Was there for 4 years, worked across solar and wind mainly, and we deployed. I think we deployed 2 3 solar plants within 2 3 really remote areas, and it was a very great time. Nice work. And Abhishek also has a good experience on social side, and he also was preparing for UPSC. So our starting points were very different, right? Just after IT, but after that, both of us gravitated to tech, and then the paths merged.
Cool. Let's hear on Abhishek's journey in the social side. What was your journey on social? What were you doing there? I think we have not seen too many entrepreneurs who have come from a social background to become a tech entrepreneur in general.
So I would categorize my journey in the social is more from a theoretical side than from a practical side. So I was preparing for the UPSC after my college. I spent there 4 years, and I had subject shows. I taken sociology. So there I got attached to every part of the society. How it is all also included the part of the anthropology. So I have looked the social part of it from the books only, and then understood, read various research and other things also.
Yeah, this is interesting because sociology is a common connection for us. Because my mother retired as a sociology professor, and my paternal grandfather was the original person who was there when economics forked out to become a sociology subject. So I think this is something really interesting. It was a economics was very vast. It was then broken down, and it was broken down into social norms, social customs, and all those things. I remember like it's a theoretical subject, but it is definitely has a lot of learnings about this human evolution, culture, and the thinking process. Why people do some things, why they are doing. That is something which is really insightful there.
real sociologists go to in their research itself. They go to the smaller villages, live with them to understand their define the society.
And what about this? From there, you also started. You had also dabbled on the law side, right? You had done something on the law and AI. That was something interesting. Maybe something you can share about it.
Yes, so as I mentioned, my father was a lawyer, and I was exposed early, not that early to the users folks who got exposed to the chat GPT in 2022, but I was exposed to this Gen AI in 2023 in the Walmart itself. I took the initiative to be the part of different teams and hackathons on the Gen AI. I was always discussing with my father on various solutions. Then after Gen AI, things start clicking out. In the legal industry, there is something on head node, so I built it with the help of my father from the feedback from him. Then when it become very good, I went to do the sales in Bangalore, and it became a hit with the publisher. So I started
Nice.
the this journey. It was a publisher product. I really wanted to build something for the lawyer, which my father which could use, because all things started from the father. That's why I started in the legal. But after understanding the Indian software market, and that too in legal, I had to take a decision to switch.
Nice, nice. Do you think that AI can automate legal work somewhere? Maybe AI agents can become lawyers.
It's not about I believe. I just don't think. I have seen the law from my childhood. My father spent a lot of time on researching which past law cases, which legal documents, which xyz to be referred for this particular cases. These all can be automated through the AI. He can take the help of AI and just do the work of 2 days, 3 days, 10 days in hour or so.
So that actually brings me to a good point. So I have been thinking this a lot. I was actually doing some research that there are about 5 million cases pending in India alone in legal, the both civil, criminal, and all of those, right? And there are many people languishing in jail because of the delays that is happening in the legal side of things, right? So one of the aspects that I was about to tweet is, can AI essentially help solve some of these cases, fast track it, and push this thing forward, right? Is the legal community open for this thing, or is Indian, like, is this even a possibility? Is the first thing, right? That was a question that I was about to ask. So you, having spent a lot understanding legal from because of your family background, your father practicing law, and you have also built something. What will be your take on this? Can like India adopt AI into its legal framework, and that hence reduce the burden or the pending cases there? What would it take to take a stab at it?
Legal is a something which at least the policy framework takes a cautious step. So they might not take the final step of AI deciding the case. But as I have heard, previous Chief Justice of India, Mr. Chandrachud, was very much interested in bringing AI into the judiciary. So he had done a great work spending time with the technology into the this whole judiciary system. But yes, these pending cases and everything could be done. One of my pitch to the investor in the legal was this AI can democratize this intelligence. Same way, Gen AI can further democratize the legal, and even the below average lawyers, which are majority, can become above average by using these. And in the end, the people can get justice.
So I think your support is getting pinged right now.
This is interesting. As we speak, like in US, like a lot of developments are happening to formulate AI governance as well as templates or regulations for AI. When the law starts taking or framing the AI policies and all, I think this is there is a high chance or high probability wherein law can actually be more productive, specifically in the AI space. One of the areas where I see a lot of this changes are happening is the documentation, the contracts, the SOWs, the NDAs. I think these are the areas where there are like standard boilerplate plates. I think if that's something is something which is can be customized and made rapidly, I think a lot of improvements can happen specifically.
So legal is all about paperwork related to natural language. and LLM started, Gen AI started with the natural language. So it was a great combination.
What made you to switch from the legal to tech, and what like Get Karta and Assistant? By the way, I saw your website; it's fabulous. Get Karta, the two persona, Lisa and the other lady. I think they have really come out really well. So, what was this push? What was that made you to think that okay, legal maybe the not the right point of a time you should get into the agentic AI specifically in the support side?
So when I started looking into the Indian legal market, I met with many investors. Then I figured out the investor sentiment on the Indian legal industry, at least at that point of time, was not very great. I also talked to one of the founder who was funded by the Info Edge, and who's one of the co-founder was from the Ramjet Milani Chambers, and figured out even that co-founder has now joined Khaitan and company. So I talked to him. He said nobody pays the money for the software. Then the story changed how to sell in the US. Then the same story, how would you sell it in the US by from here, and if your co-founder has any experience in that. That's when I called Vijay, because I somehow knew that he had an experience. And then when I got involved in Razorpay, I figured out it's better to stick to where you can penetrate in the market. And this industry, Vijay had a very great experience. I was convinced that it is better to pivot the industry than to struggle.
Yeah, I think this is the interesting here.
I think we discussed in one of our past podcasts about SaaS products selling to Indian consumers or Indian businesses, SMBs. One of the things that came out in that was that Indian businesses, Indian SMBs are not ready to buy softwares yet, right? Maybe AI could make them change that thing now. Certainly, it is not seeing it as an adoption happening. So I can completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, yeah. Even when we speak to customers today, also we get very very different things when we speak to people in India versus when we speak to people outside, right? The
Okay.
usually it started at we build here and try to sell outside because they were already in favor of automation because of cost of labor and the arbitrage that is there. India may we have real cheap labor, so people have really not maximized. I think this is the first time what is happening is the value that AI is providing is a software provider is getting cheaper than cost of labor, right? So it is so now is possibly the first time that this could happen in India, right? I mean, US में हमेशा से software was cheaper than labor, so people were in favor of it, and that crossover has happened now, right? So I think next
I
5 years is
can.
a good time to wait and watch. I think in general, next 2 years are chaotic for everyone. I mean, there nobody really knows how it's going to pan out, so everybody's keeping their roadmaps open. Okay, let's keep building whatever keeps coming, right?
Uh,
I doubt if anybody has a good 2 year strategy.
I don't think that is possible in today's day and world. Yeah. 6 months you will be out of plan if your strategy is
Yeah,
out
yeah.
there, right?
I think Bruce Lee had this right. The best technique is to have no technique, right? So that's true of strategy. The best strategy is to have no strategy today, right?
Maybe
So yeah.
or every weekend we have to have a chat with the AI saying that "Wait, the strategy, what has changed that will impact my strategy? Tell me now, please. Before I go out of business. I think if the investors are asking that, we should ask them like, what was the mode that OpenAI was saying again, please? Can you tell me that now? I think there are a couple of companies who are taking a position on trying to sell to Indian market, saying that the Indian market is going to open up for the AI softwares, and there are different takes on that. It will be interesting to see how that shapes up and how that is actually coming along. For sure, for sure.
well, this is going to be interesting because, like, we are like coming from product backgrounds and all. The typical questions where a product manager will ask, "What would be your 3 year vision, 5 year vision, and all?" What do you think? You tell me first 1 month vision and all, then, then I think you will come over 3 years. Predicting what is going to happen after 1 month, it's something. By the time your team tries to spend to build it, it would have gone obsolete.
Yeah, yeah. मतलब every week we have a product or a release or a paper or a something that's like okay, let's redo everything from start again, right? I'm like okay, ठीक है, कर लेते हैं. That's the only way you do this right now, right? So Yeah, it's happening to everybody, especially the more agile you are right now, and that is a competitive advantage, right? For sure.
Yeah, I remember 6 months back when I was leading a Gen AI project, we were concerned about token costs, and we had to think about optimizing prompts so much so that token costs are there, and then we will only give only this many prompts to that. Now token cost nobody is talking about. So, what would be a strategy about it?
Like I remember, right? This happened in solar also, right? When I just started, it was like at what 20 21 rupees per unit, right? And I'm sure, right, that today it is 2.5 3 or whatever, right? Which is cheaper than coal also.
No, it maybe it, who knows? Like they would have done this the normal calculation of cost of goods generated, what was the cost involved and all, and how many people will use it based on that calculation, which they would have done 6 months back. And when they would have released, I think they would have done that. But this is something which is interesting. Everything is getting democratized or commoditized. Like video is today commoditized. Like data is commoditized. I think this is something AI thing is token size also getting commoditized. But then again, another question which is coming into picture is the accuracy. That is something which nobody is able to tell it truly. Like we recently saw Grok taking over the market by the new releases, where they had become the Baba or the sage, where they're trying to tell the truth, and everybody is trying to ask about the future or what has happened. But then in this B2B space where we are operating, what does accuracy mean, and how do you ensure this accuracy? I think you guys are building the product and we're already launching it. What do you think? What are your take on that?
Last year, there were a lot of failed Gen AI POCs, right? I mean, that is the primary reason for that was accuracy, right? This year they have rebranded that to reliability issues, and it is continuing, right? I mean, so my thesis is that by end of this year or early next year, right, we will have an answer to how much actual accuracy agents can give, right? Today there is a lot of conversation around this and everybody is quoting something or something else, but I think it will mature this year, and by end of the year we will have a good answer to कि this is the limit on this, or you can really do what it can uphold its promise also, right? कि हाँ actually में वो उतना कर देगा, right now every day you're learning 1%, you're improving daily, right? When that 1% improvement stops, that day we'll have an answer, and my guess is by end of this year you should be there.
So Abhishek, over to you. Like, for what is your take in the accuracy? Like, how do you do that in your product? Like, what specifically, any specific magic things that you do for to ensure that accuracy is understood by the audience, or probably you would have changed the definition of accuracy?
No, the definition is always governed by the user. So when we
Correct.
go to the B2B, they finally decide what is the accuracy.
That's a very nice way to say that I am going to influence the user to think different.
Even if I say I have a 99% accuracy, but if they are not satisfied, they are not satisfied. So that is the thing. And since this is a new tech, if we go back to the ML world was a bit mature. There were many known solution for many things. One would, and there were also a benchmark for those things, that these problems will be solved by these methods, and you can generally get 82, 85, 92, whatever is the benchmark. This is a new technology. Nobody knows what is the benchmark. This is less reliable, and everybody is trying to come up with a solution. Every day we are seeing new solutions coming in. By applying different solution, you can people are able to increase the accuracy, and similarly we are working on those things. There are different places where you can apply the solution to increase the accuracy, sometime at the downstream and sometime at the upstream. So we are looking at the both side of it, and so, our thesis and our understanding up till now is, if we improve something on the upstream, which is the data side of the thing, the downstream accuracy automatically gets improved, because everybody by this time knows this garbage in, garbage out with the LLM. So you have to work on the in.
How do you ensure that inside is proper? Because in enterprises, whatever is there, you have to take it and use it.
Yes, yes. So this whole space is evolving. Previously, the if you talk about the knowledge base, if you talk about different documents, XYZ, whatever it is, it was built for the consumption of the human. but this human and human would apply their reasoning and sort of mind to organize things in their mind or in their whatever space. They will organize the unorganized information and then work accordingly. For AI to consume it, you cannot just dump the human documents and everything which is meant for human consumption, because there is a human mind layer which is applied on top of it, and then human works on it. Okay. Everybody who is just dumping the data on the AI agents and applying too many multi agents so that they can verify those things will take you to some X accuracy. But if you do not organize your data for AI agents to consume it better, it will difficult to go from 60 to 80.
Okay, understood, understood. And what about this fine tuning then? Like you would get set to certain percentage, as you mentioned, that customers would be saying that, okay, I'm not happy with the accuracy. What is the next step to do the make it sure that it comes to their likeness?
It could be short term, long term goal. Short term is you do some patching to make few things better. You may give, since it's a subjective thing in the unstructured world, you would apply custom specific things right now for specific customers. But for a long term solution, we are working on this and we are gaining accuracy every month.
Oh,
The way we think about this is right. You have it at three layers, right? One is the data layer, second is the agent layer, and third is your
correct, correct.
evals learning layer, right? And we're trying to have decent amount of depth on all three layers, because without any of these layers, I think the solution doesn't work. The more structure the data you feed in, the better your agent architecture, the better output. The better your evals and learning loops, the better the output, right? So, and across the three fronts, we are pushing the boundaries, making some progress.
Understood and understood. So along with that, like with accuracy and all, like you also would be working on to prevent the hallucinations effects, right? That is something that is a I think hallucination is the most abusive word in the AI space. People who are learning ChatGPT, they will know the second word is hallucination, and place that they would tell like go and talk, they will apart from ChatGPT, they will say, okay, I think this is hallucinating. But then, how do you handle that, your hallucinations? Is it something, are you creating some kind of a RAG model or any fine tuning model?
In the unstructured world, detection is a difficult problem. So currently we do something like, so in the previous ML world, what people used to do is sample, if they are in production, sample some data, 1% of the data, annotate it manually to figure out how things are performing at the different categories or sections. We are spending time to analyze whatever things in production to figure out whatever uh, which are which are the things which is going wrong, and we are tagging it. And there, so monitoring is important to figure out what things are breaking in what quantity. So there we are spending time to figure out. And then on the hallucination side, as we talked about, if we control improve the things on the upstream, prevent the from garbage to getting into the agents, the hallucination is taken care at that level. Currently, solution in the market is most solutions are on the downstream side where you try to detect the hallucination. Our case is we also apply the detection of hallucination, which is because the solutions around this are more easily available. But if you clean the upstream, most of the hallucination problem will be solved, and there will be less thing to detect.
Just one thing I need to add, right? Along with the tech problem, right? This is a hugely people problem also, right? Whatever answer you show, even after what Abhishek said, we do all that and we show some answer. People are like, "Ah, ये hallucinated है, right? ये गलत है, right?" Now that's what I'm saying. So because people have some notion about it, they heard and they're afraid reliability coming, whatever. I'm sure they have reasons. So the way we are thinking through this is कि the more you show what's happening under the hood, राइट द मोर यू टेल कि ये हमने यहाँ से उठाया था इसका सोर्स ये था यू कैन चेक दिस इज द चंक फ्रॉम वेयर वी आर शोइंग दिस दैट बिल्ड्स इन मोर कॉन्फिडेंस राइट एंड the second layer to this is कि once you are trying to show people where it is coming from and if you can give feedback on this कि oh this source was not correct this source was correct and if he's on control of what AI is thinking and doing right he accepts the solution more right so along with the tech problem there is a huge people problem and you have to address both to actually push this into the enterprise or any organization right so
I think this is interesting. Rashmi was actually handling it in a deft way in the recent Aki AI launch of the LinkedIn booster. I think Rashmi, like, why don't you share your insights? You must have got the same accuracy, hallucination, and the people problem in your discussions.
See, I have a little different take than what we normally say, right? So there are two parts to look at this. Since the beginning of, or the since the launch of Chat GPT, what has happened is we are now coming into a place where we people are the moment they see, they are skeptical of AI. Like Vijay was saying that there is a pushback against AI. So the moment they see AI, they're actually raising a voice up, right? But there are two layers to this. First layer is they are saying this because the voice sounds impassionate, and it doesn't sound authentic or original, right? The moment that happens, people feel that they are talking not to a human, but to a machine, and they feel getting cheated because they are a human talking there, right? So why, as a human, I'll talk to a machine over there? So one of the approaches that as Aki AI we are trying to do is how can we ask or how can we tune AI to talk in human voice, not replace human but enhance their ability systems and systems, right? So our approach is to have a human in the loop to ensure that you are going out and posting. Let's say, so the product we launch is for LinkedIn to convert an idea to a LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn post. Now, if I have to talk about LinkedIn, so there are about a lot of people looking to LinkedIn to build a personal brand, including me, including founders in general, right? But there is a challenge. The challenge is I am not a natural content creator. So if I'm not a natural content creator, my first thing problem comes in like, okay, what am I going to write on LinkedIn? Right? Ideas. I don't have an idea to write on LinkedIn. I don't know what to talk. That's the first thing. And then let's say by somehow I do that, then I don't know how to structure it, format it so that it will be accepted and taken up by the LinkedIn audience. Right? I tried out Chat GPTs and the message, and the output was so bad. I actually automated to on Twitter, not on LinkedIn, and the output was everyone was calling out, "Don't keep on pushing AI," right? And I could understand why this was happening. But then I said, okay, this should not be the case generally. I mean, there should be an option available, right? So I designed the solution in such a way that, okay, first, can we build in a solution where it is a lot more personal? It is talking. So every human, let's say in four of us here, everyone is unique their own respect. Satya is unique, Abhishek is unique, Vijay is unique, I am unique, not just in our knowledge base, but also in the tone, in the way our voice, how we speak, right? Not the, I mean, the voice, I mean, the writing language, it will be different. So our styles are different. Everything is different. So that authenticity, that uniqueness, that originality is getting lost when you're trying to go to machine to correct us, right? So take the aid of the machine, but keep your originality out there. That's the idea through which we are trying to target. And I am getting pings right now on my private chat. Hey, this last post was written by you, right? It did not look like AI at all. I read, yes, it was also written by AI. So, so what is happening is because again, I'm not saying it is completely written by it is aided by AI. It is my thought, my idea. I am giving the points. It is structuring it for me, right? It is not like the idea, the thoughts, the everything is mine. So my knowledge, my ideas, my thought. AI is helping me to bridge the last mile gap. So let's say today, if you come across and say, "Oh, let's do a post on LinkedIn," so I will okay, what do I post? But then what do I post is something I asked AI to check into my knowledge base. What is there? Can you combine what is happening in the world right now? Can you suggest a post then? Right? I, as a human, would be doing that, or natural content creators will actually do it very quickly. But then for me, it is difficult. But then AI can aid me and then say, okay, here are the five topics. What would you like to choose? Then an aha moment will strike me. This sounds. I can talk about this. I have knowledge on
Hmm.
this one. Let me do that. Right. So that's. I think we will be seeing AI going forward. Full automation is something I think we are a little far off, but human in the loop and workflows are something I believe is going to bridge this gap between people feeling cheated by AI to going to the place that are saying, okay, this is natural because they're also taking the effort to write the post. It's just that they're getting helped by AI to present it properly.
See, what Rashmi is saying is absolutely true, and it's true of corporates also. Like for example, if you look at any company, right, any company is unique in its own brand and personality, right, right. So just imagine what happens 2.5 years later. Ki agent accuracy is super high. Everybody is now at 90-95%, right? Then where does the differentiation come in? The differentiation comes in exactly what Rashmi is saying. Ki how accurately you can match a brand's voice, uniqueness, and personality, right? What he's saying at an individual level is bound to happen at a company level. It's just 1 or 2 years away, but it's going to happen for sure.
It's one or two. You don't know. Like
Ah,
next week, also somebody might
my
be hearing.
bad,
They
my
might
Yes,
be
bad,
doing
my
we have to
bad.
come back to that 1 or 2 years. Don't think in those timelines, man.
My bad, my bad, my bad.
Yeah, we on one side we are facing AI skeptics or like people like who have all those believers. I think B2B space also we would have lot of this AI skeptics wherein where they will say, hey, you are using AI, you might be using my data to train the your AI model and making your selling your software to better use cases. I think everybody is facing that. How do you handle it in your case? Like specifically AI skeptics or AI people like enterprises say, or businesses who think that their data is going to utilize. What is your pushback on that? And probably how do you convince them?
Something unique I've seen happen for this, right? Ki a lot of these companies that we speak to, right, there is a pressure for them to do something in AI, right? कहीं से तो आ रहा है वो right? Either it's from the founder or it's from the investor or whoever, right? Everybody has some sort of pressure. So whenever we talk to people, people are saying that I want to do this, but I don't trust you, right? That is the kind of that is the kind of conversation that is there. Okay, and so then it is like I said, right? It's a people problem also. Then you have to handhold them and to get them to okay, this is how it works, this is how it's going to be, this is a thing you can expect, this is the costing, right? It goes that way. But there is a natural pull in the market, but there is a tinge of skepticism that's out there.
But then, how do you ensure the data is filtered? Like maybe Abhishek, you were also saying something that you had ensured that the data stays within the organization and it doesn't go out to the normal LLM, right? How do you handle that?
So as I mentioned, so some level of comfort has been provided by the these LLM provided themselves. Azure has come up with the policy. Every organization, even in the Walmart, they have now using Copilot. So those things has been taken care of. There are some policy based things that data should not go to the LLM of the PII data and all those things. For those things, this was the requirement in the legal world also. So I had worked on this. So we are using some masking techniques to mask the data, and then things go to the LLM. But today I see a lot of comfort is there with the people. They are not much concerned with the data as far as I mean higher companies, companies like Walmart maybe must cannot use the LLM without a certain agreement with the cloud provider, but mid-size company and SMBs are okay with that. So am a part of a community engineer community where people do a lot of sharing of the knowledge, and there were surveys on this. Okay, who is using external LLM, who is using Olama and all of this. Only 1 or 2% of the people tried using these local LLMs, but miserably fails because it's a costly affair. Small LLMs do not work on the larger use cases. For a specific, very limited thing, they can train and host it, but it's a difficult problem. Unless and until you are a big enterprise, you have a lot of money to try out things. Smaller companies cannot afford it.
So, but yeah, smaller companies can have their own RAG pipeline, probably some vector databases where they would have their immediate responses, but and their own workflows and automation, something which they can provide that. Okay, understood. I think this is an interesting segue here. What do you think to coming to the next topic about the trends of the AI? What do you think are the great upcoming trends that are happening, and what AI tools would be used or helping those people to get ahead of those trends? People are now in the stage where they don't know where to start and how to start, probably learn themselves. What do you think is going to help out them out to get the wave?
I think nobody has a choice there. I think everybody is going to be full stack, not just in this, full stack across. Everybody is a video creator, content creator, music creator. Everybody is becoming a full stack everywhere, right? But I think the tools that are really useful are one we heavily use, lovable for a lot of our designs. I spend a lot of time on Notebook LM. So most of my book readings is now talking to Notebook LMs, right? I give it the book and then I start talking to it, and that's how I read most of my stuff. I use Lindy a lot, right? So for all my market research and all my daily updates, that's what I use it for, or email automation here and there, right? That's something that I use a lot. And little bit I play around with Google Studio.
Google Studio, nice. And do you like what do you think like is your favorite LLM? Is it the Chat GPTs or the Geminis or the Grok or the Anthropic?
I think for more structured thinking, it is Claude, and for general use, I talk to ChatGPT a lot.
Oh, nice. But mostly like on a office purpose or the productivity from your office point of view, which is the one like apart from the lovable, do you use anything for ideation or a second brain kind of a thing?
Not yet. I think I'm talking to ChatGPT only. But if there is any tool that you recommend, yeah, let me know. Right, because
Yeah. No, what would be interesting is that we are all talking to ChatGPT and probably they are listening to our brain and thoughts. Who knows, whatever we are talking, they are would be building
yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah, sure, sure. I ask ChatGPT very regularly. Now, what do you think of me? What is the notes that you made about me? Please tell me. It gives you very fascinating answers. Very fascinating.
Oh, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, yeah. So the typical prompt is basis all the conversations that we've had. Take a describe me as a person and all that. It give you a nice thing about you, right? It is good. You should try it.
Nice, nice. And what about you, Abhishek? How have you been adopting AI?
So most of the time I'm using Cursor. Uh, Apart from this, ChatGPT is now one space I go regularly. As Vijay mentioned, since it came the first, everybody I think goes first to the ChatGPT. But for a specific thing, someone has used to Claude. So now I use a Claude also. But whenever I know I have something to do with the Google search answers, when I need to get the answers from the web, I go to Perplexity.
Yeah, I think Perplexity has evolved to just a replacement of Google search to I think to a next level, right?
Yeah, a lot of companies I think are publishing how their SEO and traffic is going down. Just waiting for Google to publish that.
Yeah. You know, that is interesting. Now, do you think the websites would be requiring all the websites that we are putting should be looking for SEOs, or they should be looking to align with what Perplexity follows, the
Uh,
crawlers?
for aiding SEO, they used to have a robots.txt file inside them, right? All websites. Right now, there is a rising trend of having llms.txt right now, right? So how will LLMs should see the website, read information, and take it out? So we will just get there, and we'll see which one is giving us more traffic as it goes along.
100%. That is going to happen. Also, we have a thesis that key for everybody, right? I think in early what mid 90s or 2000s, right, everybody wanted to have a website, right? Now everybody will also want to have a conversational agent, right? So you go to the website, you will have a website and a conversational agent. You can talk to both of them to understand whichever is your more comfortable way of. If you have a pointed query, you might as well talk to the agent. If you're a discovery person, you might as well look at the website, right? I mean, it just depends how you are there, where you're there.
Yeah, interesting, interesting. So this is something which we are also bringing in. Like apart from the Perplexity, a lot of people are using specifically the voice clone agents, which is the latest trending thing, that the 11 lab stone voice clone and all. Are you guys also thinking to use your voice clones or agents for your Get Karta AI platform?
It's in the roadmap.
Ah, nice. Again, roadmap for 1 year or 2 year or
No, no,
one
no.
month.
That's a, I didn't mention the timeline this time.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. No, I actually wanted to see if we can go to the next one. I wanted to talk more about other tools that they are using because we are hearing roadmap, but there's so much change happening. I wanted to go move forward to see like what are some of the tools that you use apart from GetKarta? I mean, you're obviously using GetKarta, but apart from your own product, what do you use more often? The individual user.
I spend a lot of time on Notebook LM, right? A lot of my thinking, a lot of my book reading, right? A lot of my ideation happens there, right? For example, if I'm reading, take a topic, right? UI for AI, right? So I will collect a lot of sources and I'll put it there, and then I'll start talking to it, right? Ki, this is how I'm thinking. What are the experts saying? They'll try to chisel my thoughts basis on all the ideas that we have there, right? That's one way I use that. Other is I read books on Notebook LM, right? I will give a book and I'll say ki summarize each chapter, top 3 points with examples, and then I'll read it the whole book in like half an hour, and then I'm like, okay, now let me talk edge cases and hard questions and all of that, right? So that's why I read books now. So my lot of reading and understanding has moved to Notebook LM, right? Then I use Google AI Studio whenever I'm trying to do try to understand. So one fun thing that I do is how usable my product is, right? So I will do a screen share and I will say, I want to do X task and walk me through the product, right? If it's able to do that, I'm like, oh, good, my design is fine, right? If it's not able to do it, I'll go and change my designs, right? So that's one way to use a test very easily, right? Uh, Apart from that, I do a lot of Lindy. Right, Lindy is your agent that helps you in personal productivity. Right, so all my market research, कौन से startups को funding आ रही है, क्या आ रही है, what's latest, what's happening. Right, Lindy sends me a daily report every day. Right, that's the third tool that I heavily use. Fourth is Lovable. I spend a lot of time designing on Lovable. A lot of our internal designs for dashboards are done by Lovable, right? So that's the fourth. And apart from that, fifth, sixth would be your chat GPTs and cloud and all of that.
Nice. I actually haven't explored Notebook LLM that much to that extent, which you're saying. That is a good use case to explore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, see, it helps you refine your ideas a lot and
Yeah.
in a very narrow way.
Correct, correct. And I remember like Abhishek talking. Yeah, correct. Abhishek was talking about this Ande Karpati's about the tweet which actually changed the fortunes for Lovable. Do you think he's going to tweet for you? Oh, we heard about that. Vijay, like I think moving on to the next segment, one thing we wanted to talk about is the upcoming trends. Like everything is changing for you. Everything you are building a company at this stage, where every month and all, or not every month, even the weeks, things are changing for you. Even your mode on which you are building is changing. How do you suggest or how do you advise founders like yourselves to sustain this storm and build something which can be meaningful and usable for users specifically? We are all talking about end users. We are trying to solve problem from the end users and making them effective. Now, in this stage where technology is changing, like the how part is changing, how do you go about solve the why part, the problem part, and ensure that it remains consistent, it remains better, and it remains relevant, specifically relevant?
There are two things, right? One is the problem, right? Usually problems stay the same over time, right? The way to solve them and technology keeps changing, right? Like for example, trying to have a support has been always been there, right? I mean, since the time companies bani hongi, tab se support ki problem hogi, right? So the problem stays, right? What changes is the solutions, right? And solution changes because tech keeps changing, right? So the hard problem remain big, and what also happens is that new problems come, right? So that always happens. The hard problem here is that technology changes. Now the way to do that is how do you stay on top of technology, right? At given today's age, I think that's the hard problem. And one way that we think about that is to have a community, right? Where everybody is discussing and thinking about the same thing all the time, right? Because you cannot cover all edges, right? And by a single person, you are very limited in your time and in your resources, right? So the best way to do that we have figured out is to have a good close community where all these discussions are happening and everybody brings something to the table and we learn from each other. I think that's the only way forward by being on this tower technology. I think individually is very, very hard. At the pace at which this is moving, my solution is community to it. Second, what we try to do a little bit here is we try to get, instead of going to all information, you build automations ki information comes to you, right? I mean, I'm sure nowadays this is possible in a big way, right? So वो हम कर लेते हैं तो कि हमको थोड़ा सा advantage हो जाता है, search time कम हो जाता है. This is where Lindy comes into the picture, right? But the biggest hack that I have figured is having the best community around. I mean, that helps a lot.
Yeah, I think this is interesting. What is your take, Abhishek?
As I mentioned, I have joined a community where we get to knowledge from the other people also what they have tried, what they have failed, what is interesting in the new things. Otherwise, if something new is coming, just like OpenAI released their own agents, if I have to go and try and figure out if it is better than the one which I am using, if I have to shift, it is a hard one. You get stuck to a one thing which you have started. By being a part of the community, you understand, get to know everything.
I'll just give an example of what Abhishek is saying, right? कि imagine you are 10 people, right, doing all AI startups, right? एक दिन में, एक हफ्ते में I can do 10 experiments, right? If I have to do 100 experiments to find it out, I need like 100 by 10, मतलब 10 weeks. But if there are people, सब लोग अपने अपने 10 individual experiments कर रहे हैं, and everybody is coming at the end of the weekend saying we have 100 experiments, then you have results of 100 experiments to learn from, right? That's the only way you short circuit time. There is no other way that you short circuit this. नहीं तो फिर तुमको 10 हफ्ते लगाने पड़ेंगे, and the best way to learn from each other because everybody is, and because ये सबकी problem है, मेरी अकेले की नहीं है, right? They also face the same problem. So we are short circuiting everybody's time by doing this.
And I also think here is one thing is that problem. What great point that you brought, that community and the problem that is remaining same. Over the period of time, the influx of AI agents has become so much that probably that would give a reverse cycle of such wave wherein people would value more human interactions rather than the agent. Like I think interesting point was Rashmi was talking about. A lot of people yearn for human touch on onboarding, human touch for support. uh, yes, productivity is required, but they want the distinct thing which actually separates things, not the generic evas or the kiras of the world.
Yeah, I have been thinking about this, right? I mean, मुझे लगता है कि how we value vintage today, right? It is super rare and super priced. That is where humans will go to, right? There will be AI all around, and anything human will be like man-made, human-made, written by human, done by human, and it will be vintage and heavily priced. And anything, just say handmade होता है आजकल, right? I mean, it's unique and niche, and it's like it's paid more for, right? That will happen to man-made software, man-made this, man-made that, right? So I think that's one way that this could go. I'm sure there are other trajectories too. This is what I would guess.
Command a premium for a handmade table like we are having versus a machine made table and all.
Yeah, yeah. I think that will very surely go.
Rashmi, over to you.
And I am actually out. I think most of my questions are there, and I have got some great points on what was discussed. So this has been a very nice learning experience.
Yeah, I think this discussion was really insightful, specifically on the terms of how this AI is changing in every month, the road mapping factor, and we are more interested about this man-made part, which is actually changing. I think you working on the contact center space and the customer support space, this is going. Your area is going to be like a interesting area where because that's where the AI has first made its impact, and probably that is an area where it is going to see a lot of more interesting changes that is going to happen.
Yeah, one of the reasons we chose this was ki of all the areas where AI is going to impact, right? This is the probably one where the outcome is very clearly measurable, right? In every other place, it's hard to measure outcome. Like for example, it generated code, right? I mean, for example, right? I mean, but the code, what did it do? मतलब उसका quantification hard है. यहाँ पे quantification बहुत आसान है कि there was a ticket, it didn't happen, it didn't go to the human, so much time was saved and so much cost was saved, right? This is probably one of the spaces where outcome as a service very clearly can be measured, right? As opposed to other places, we start doing work as a service, right? So, okay, so yeah, so I'm sure next 1 year will be super super exciting.
Yeah, outcome of a service pricing and pricing this agent. This is something which is really going to be interesting. Yes, this discussion has been really great, and we had a lot of insightful conversation. So, how do you, our people, like audiences, reach out to you? Any place, any suggestions, or any DM messages that they want to reach out to you to seek your inputs for the next set of journeys? What do you suggest?
I think LinkedIn is the best channel. I am super active on LinkedIn, so anybody reaches out, I will surely reply. So that works.
And yeah, Rashmi, I think we will have to talk to your agent to understand on this one.
I am on the work to replace me.
Nice. For our
Someone has
list,
to replace me.
yeah, it's better. So we will say next time. I think next podcast now we will have your agent sitting there, who is going to
I
talk to
wish
you
that
exactly
could
like you, and
happen.
that is what we are hoping.
I wish that could happen. Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's create 4 agents and let them talk to each other.
Yes.
Absolutely. But for our audiences, this has been a great insightful discussion. And if you haven't checked Get Karta AI, please go ahead and check at getkarta.ai and reach out to Vijay and Abhishek for more details. They are doing incredible work on the space of support. And we all here want you to read their product and maybe share some initial feedback. Try it out, basically. That is the best way that how we can get to know more. And also, please do subscribe to this podcast. Share your comments, feedback, and suggestions how to make it better. And please do join our conversation to learn our next AI trend that's going to come. Hoping for a great weekend. Thank you, and bye bye.